many thoughts did you write? Huh?
8.
8 thoughts. 8 thoughts in a minute. Okay. 10. 10. 5. Okay. 4. Okay. Now which thought is you? Could you please tell me which one is you? None of them. Right? Do you see what they are? They're just things. They're just noise. They're just noise that's passing by. Well, you don't even know which one is you. There's just so many of them. You saw it. The beautiful thing about Vedanta is it's just so intuitive. It's so intuitive. It's so real. So can you tell me every day if I have so many thoughts of anger and love and hope and jealousy and peace, then which one am I? I don't know. Because it's not me. It's a parade that's just happening. And when the mind sleeps, it's gone. And then all of a sudden, when the mind wakes up, it's there. So he says, there is proof, logical proof, that you're not the thoughts. Now he says, okay, but you're going to tell me what's the proof that I'm not the ego? Now, think about us as the individual. Which person are you? Are you that individual 2 days ago? Are you that individual 2 hours ago? Are you that individual 2 years ago? Which you is you? Which one? We can't say. We can't say that this me is me. There's nothing in you and in me that we can point to that says this is me. We don't know. And the very fact is, it goes and it comes. So he says, I'm not just giving you examples, but I'm also giving you proof. This is what it is. So, how much importance do we have to give to our thoughts? How much importance do we have to give to who we are? Enough. Enough so that we can come within. How much importance are we to give to the world? Enough so we can come within. And not 1 ounce more. Because if you were in class this morning, I had said everything is just to come within. Every single thing is just to come within. So now, Sam, we say, okay, I understand that the mind is not my nature. I understand that even this individuality, this ego is not my nature. Then could you please tell me what my nature is? So now the next verse, he's telling us what our nature is. Prakashorkasya to yasya Shaityam agniryatoshnata Swabhava Satchidananda Nitya Nirmalatatmanaha Prakashokasya toyasya Shaityam agniryatoshnata Swabhava Satchidananda Nitya Nirmalatatmanaha. So he says, this is your nature. This is who you are. You and I are not people. We're not persons. We're not the mind, body, intellect. We're none of that. We can't even say we're human. We can't say any of that. He says, just like Prakashaha Arkasya, just like of the sun, the nature is luminosity, radiance. Toyasya Shaityam, of water, what is the nature? that coolness, shaitya. Agnehe oshnata. For that fire, ushnata, for that fire, heat is the nature. Yatha, just as swabhavaha, the nature, your nature is satchidatma. Satchidatmani means your nature is existence, consciousness, bliss. Sat, Chit, Ananda, Nitya. Nitya means eternal, and Nirmala. Nirmala means ever pure. Have we ever seen a sun that's dark? No. The nature of the sun is radiance, it's brilliance, it's light. Whenever the sun's there, it's light. You can't have sun without its light. And its light, it's not its property. It's not something that comes and goes. It's nature. Can we have water without coolness? You're going to say yes. When you boil water, it's not cool anymore. But after you boil water, what happens and you leave it? It cools down, right? You can't help it. It'll cool down because that's its nature. Even if we boil it, that's why we have these mugs, right? To keep them warm, because after we boil it, it will cool down. That's the nature of water. Have you ever seen cold fire? It doesn't exist, right? Everywhere we go, fire is hot. That's its dharma. That's its nature. In the same way, our nature is these three things, which is actually all the same thing. Don't think that Sat is different, Chit is different, Ananda is different. It's just like saying Lord Rama is King Dasharatha's son, Kaushalya's son, Sita Mata's husband, Lakshmana's brother. All are saying Lord Rama, right? But we're just saying it through Dasharatha's son, Sita Mata's husband, Lakshmana's brother. We're just coming at it from different angles, but everything is Rama. In the same way, everything is Atma, and we're just coming at it from different angles. What do you mean? First is when we say Sat. Now, this is back in the day, AtmaBodha. Do you all remember the definition of Sat? That which doesn't change, right? Kala traya api tishtati iti Sat. Right? That which never ever changes is called Sat. It never changes. So everything in us that doesn't change is Sat. Everything in us that changes is Asat. Now think of something in your life from when you were born till date that hasn't changed. Anything? Anything hasn't changed?
Consciousness that follows.
Just Atma. Everything else has changed. Correct? Our identity, our notion of who we are. You know, maybe before you were married, your notion of yourself was very different. I'm a career person, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Then when you get married, it's very different. I'm a mother, I'm a father. Then when you become grandparents, it's very different, your notion of yourself. So all of that changes. But that which is changeless is Sat. And remember in AtmaBodha, I said, it's not only changeless, but it remains as it is. So some people might say, some people give that example that when you're standing in a river, and there's water flowing, right? The water is constantly flowing, and the water that touches your feet is different all the time, right? So it's constantly there, water's constantly there, but it's changing in the sense that different water is touching your feet. When we say Sat, it's not only changeless, but it's a constant changeless. Means it doesn't change in any way. It remains as it is. It's not like water flowing. It's changeless. And it remains exactly as it is. Okay? So that's what we mean by Sat. It's pure existence. If we want to say it's pure existence, it's the isness of something. And some people might have the doubt that, well, if it's just existence, then, I mean, is it aware? Is it conscious? Is it its being? So because of that, then the Rishi said it's not just Sat, it's Chit. Means it's conscious presence, it's awareness. It's not just one undivided existence, it's one undivided existence that's aware. It's an awareness. And so then people said, okay, well, why would I want to know this one undivided existence that's awareness? Okay, you keep it. Why do I have to do anything about it? Right? The Rishi said, no, no, no. It's not only this one undivided existence that's awareness, but it is Purna, Ananda. It's infinite. It's full. That's why we have to know it. Because it's fullness. It will make us complete. In the Upanishads, it said, anytime there is limitation, or anytime we identify with the limited, we feel sorrow. When we identify with the body which is limited, we will feel sorrow. Because there are days that the body goes through certain things. We will feel down. When we identify with the mind, we will feel sorrow. My goodness, how did this thought come and why did it come there? When we identify with the ego, we will feel sorrow. Somebody criticizes us, somebody doesn't say something nice about us, we will feel sorrow. But whenever we identify with the infinite, we feel joy. So not only is it an existence that's undivided, it's awareness and it's full, it's Purna. That's why we have to know it. Knowing this is the seat of happiness. Knowing this, one is ever free. So he says, just like this is the nature of things in the world, the light of the sun, the heat of the fire, the coolness of the water, so too your nature is Sat Chit Ananda. And that will never ever go away. And that's who you are. And that's the greatest thing ever. And then somebody might say, Adi Shankaracharya ji, you've spoken about this so many times. I know that it's my nature, but how is this ego born then? How did this ego come about? I mean, if that's my nature, why am I feeling like an individual? How did this individuality come? So he says, okay, I will tell you exactly how this individuality comes. So now we go to verse 25. Atmanas Satchidam Shascha
Atmanas Satchidam Shascha
Buddhir Vrittiriti Dvayam
Buddhir Vrittiriti Dvayam
Samyojya Cha Vivekena
Samyojya Cha Vivekena
Janamiti Pravartate
Janamiti Pravartate
Atmanas Satchidam Shascha Buddhir Vrittiriti Dvayam Samyojya Cha Vivekena Janamiti Pravartate. So he says, this is what's happening. This is why you and I think that we are the ego. This is what's happening. Atmanaha, of the self, Satchit Amsha, means that existence, consciousness, nature, and Buddhehe Vritti, and the thought of the intellect, Samyojya, they come together. And Avivekena, and because of Aviveka, because of indiscrimination, then I think Janami titi. I think that I am the knower. I am the doer. I am the seer. I am the feeler. Okay, so now I'm going to give you an example so we know. This is exactly what's happening. So this, I think, example I've given to you before, this is known as Pratibimba Vada. This is exactly what's happening. Let's say Atma is like the sun. Okay? Let's say Atma is like the sun. And you know that the bucket is the gross body and the water is the subtle body, and there's a reflection. There's a reflection of the sun in the water. Okay? So Atma is the sun, the bucket is a gross body, the water is the subtle body, and the reflection of the sun is a reflection of consciousness known as Chidabhasa. Okay? Chidabhasa. Now, the nature of consciousness is to illumine. It's there. It's nature, right? The nature of the mind, it's like a flow of thoughts. It's just there. It's like water. Now, because consciousness is there, automatically the reflection will happen. Because the sun is there and you put a bucket of water there, automatically reflection will happen, right? It's not something that we're forcing to happen. It's not something that we made happen. It's automatically happening. The sun's shining. There's a bucket of water. Reflection's there. That reflection of consciousness is called the ego. That is called the ego. So what's happening here? Consciousness is there. The mind is there. And the reflection of consciousness is there. And it's happening. It's very natural. But what's the mistake here? That reflection of consciousness is starting to identify with the mind and say, oh, I'm this mind. That reflection of consciousness is saying, I'm this mind. I am this body. I am this being. It forgets that, hey, I'm actually the sun. I'm actually the sun. It's just very natural that there's a reflection there. I'm actually the sun, but yet somehow I think that I'm identifying with the water and with the bucket. So it's a natural phenomena for the reflection of consciousness to appear. But what's not natural is for us to take it as ourselves. That's not our nature. But we are doing that. So one might say, so what do we do? What do we do in this case? Now first analyze. Is anything happening to Atma in this example? Nothing. Nothing is happening to Atma, right? It's the reflection of consciousness and the buddhi vritti. Together that mix-up is called the jiva, the ego. This mix-up is called the jiva, the ego. So who is identifying? Is the sun identifying? Who is identifying? The jiva. So it's the jiva that's identifying with the body, mind, and intellect. It's never Atma. So who is ignorant? Jiva. Right? The jiva is the one who's not that Brahman is ignorant. Not that Atma is ignorant. It's the jiva that's ignorant. It's the jiva that identifies with this body, mind, intellect equipment. It's the jiva that does all of this. So now you tell me, what's the solution? What do we do? Can we stop the reflection from happening? No, it's very natural. It will just happen. Can we destroy consciousness? Is that the solution? Can we maybe get rid of the mind? Is that the solution? So in some practices, they feel like if they quieten the mind and dissolve the mind, then all of these problems won't happen. Right? And sometimes there's yoga abhyasa, where they just want to dissolve the mind, dissolve the mind, dissolve the mind, so that this notion of doership won't come. But is that practical? It's not practical, right? It's not practical because how long can you sit quietly? Can we sit quietly? Not even for a couple of minutes, right? It's impractical. So we can't destroy consciousness. We can't totally sublate the mind and sit quietly. We can't stop the reflection of consciousness. What is the only solution then?
Where's the Lisa?
To know. Do you see now why karma is not the solution? The only solution is in this verse. It says viveka. The only solution is to know that this is me, that I am that sun. I am not this reflection of consciousness identifying with all of this. That's the only solution. So this is exactly what happens to us. This is exactly how we kind of become this doer, enjoyer individual. It's so hard. It's so hard because that notion is with us for so long. So to pull back and to discriminate, it takes a while. It takes a while.
But even you discriminate, still, how I 100% consciousness is not there, like all the time.
Even if we discriminate, why are still we not, super conscious of it all the time? Why? Well, that always goes back to our vasanas, right? It always goes back to our vasanas. Although we're intellectually knowing, but experientially we're not following because we're so used to living a different kind of lifestyle. So my intellect is saying, yes, that's true. Oh my gosh, this is what it is. But guess what? My mind and body are saying, you can say whatever you want, oh intellect, but I'm just going to do whatever I want. Right? Because the mind and body are so used to doing what they want to do. So we have to consciously make the changes at the mind-body level, not only intellectual level. So this is how this doer is born.
And the reflection of the sun is seen through our eyes. Eyes again going back to the mind. So there's a relation without.
So now this is just an example, right? So just take the example has a limitation. In this example, we're seeing the reflection, right? In our own lives, there is that reflection. There is that reflection of consciousness, which is the ego notion. But that reflection, the whole point is that reflection has to know that I'm not actually that reflection, I am pure consciousness. But that, if that reflection starts to say, oh, this is me, this is me, this is me, this is me, that's where the issue happens. That's where the issue goes. And that's why we have so many methods of Vedanta, right? Saying that this is not you, this is not you, this is not you. Now come to exactly who you are. Come to who you are. So now he's going to tell us further what this means. He's going to tell us further what exactly this verse means. Okay? Atmano vikriya nasti.
Atmano vikriya nasti.
Buddhir bodho na jatvati.
Buddhir bodho na jatvati.
Jiva sarvamalam nyatva.
Jiva sarvamalam jnatva.
Jnata drashteti muhyati.
Jnata drashteti muhyati. Atmano vikriya nasti. Buddhir bodho na jatvati. Jiva sarvamalam jnatva. Jnata drashteti muhyati.
So it says, Atmanaha vikriya nasti. Means of Atma, there is no vikara, there is no change. Buddhehe bodhana jatu iti. Of the intellect, there is no capacity to know. Jiva sarvamalam nyatva. So this jiva somehow feels that they know everything, that they have the capacity to know. And it thinks jnata, drashta, muhyati. It gets deluded and thinks that I'm the jnata, I'm the knower, I'm the drashta, I'm the seer. So see here what's happening. One thing that's happening is, anything happens to the sun? Nothing, right? Atmanaha vikriya nasti. Nothing happens to the sun. Absolutely nothing, and nothing can happen to Atma. What does this mean? Atma can never become Jiva. Atma never became Jiva. Atma is pure Atma, untouched. And even when we're ignorant, we are still Atma. It's not that someday I'm going to become Atma. Now also we're Atma. Atma is ever untouched. And of that buddhihi, buddhehe bodhaha na jatu iti. That water, that mind, intellect, equipment is inert. It doesn't have the capacity to know. It can't do anything. And remember when we studied AtmaBodha, what is the mind made up of? You're breaking my heart. Mind is made up of 5 subtle elements, right? Samashti, Satvik, Panchikrita, Panchamahabhuta, Kritam. So the mind is made up of subtle elements. The mind is inert. So how are you going to mix the two? Actually, the two can't mix. But somehow, because of this reflection of consciousness, because there appears to be some kind of reflection of consciousness, we take that to be ourselves. We say that this is me, this is the drashta, this is the jnata, this is the seer, this is the knower. But Atma can't know anything. The mind can't know anything. But somehow there's a mixture. Somehow this mixture appears to us. It can't actually happen. Gurudev calls it an unholy wedlock. So somehow it actually mixes and we say, this mixture is me. This mixture is who I am. And I forget that I'm the real sun. So this is what's going on all the time. Now, so think about this ego. This ego is just a reflection of consciousness. This ego is just a false thing. Now, how much drama we make out of this false thing? Somebody didn't notice me. Oh, I feel so bad. Somebody didn't appreciate me. Oh, I feel so bad. Somebody said something about me. How much we protect our ego. How much we protect it, nurture it, make it grow, all of that. For what? This flimsy reflection in the water. Do you see? You see what it is? It's just a reflection. For my whole life, I'm just trying to keep this ego together. And why do I want a certain title? Why do I want a certain position? Ego. Then everybody will say, oh, you're so great, you're so great. Why do I want to make so much money? Ego. Everyone will say, you're so well off, great, Why do I want my kids to be so happy? Ego. Because you want people to think you're good parents and everything like that. Do you see how much we fuel this ego? And it's fake. It's like a fake ID. It's just a semblance. This is all that it is.
So if you feel less and less ego, it doesn't bother you. What people think of you, does that mean that we are, I don't know how to say it, identifying ourselves more with I'm not making myself, but suppose you think less of all these things, it doesn't bother you.
Yeah.
So what does that make me that I am kind of
That's still an ego.
It's still an ego?
Yeah. That's even a different ego, you know. I'm not egoistic, you know. I don't care about things like that. That's also an ego. Yeah. People think that, you know, just feeling good about yourselves is an ego, but also feeling low about yourselves. Nobody cares for me, nobody loves me. That's also an ego. Insecurity is also an ego. I don't have an ego is also an ego. Right? So what Vedanta is saying is the goal is to crush this ego, to sublimate this ego. That's why we have the Shera, right? What is the Shera? Why it comes on the 10th day? Why is it cutting Ravana's head? It's the ego. All of our demons, a lot of it is cutting the head, cutting that. Like, what's going on? It's because it's just showing us to break that ego. Because it's nothing. It's just a fake, it's a reflection of consciousness. And so much drama I make because of it. So once I see how minuscule this ego is, then I realize what a crazy mess I'm creating just for this reflection of consciousness.
So it is just you have to realize and crush it
Yeah.
consciously.
Best.
I mean, that's hard to.
The best is to offer it to the feet of Guru and God and get them to crush it. Right? It gets crushed. It gets crushed in Karma Yoga. It gets crushed in Karma Yoga because we have to put our egos aside. Because we still have to work for a cause, no matter what anybody says, no matter what anyone does, we still have to serve together. It will get crushed. It gets crushed in Bhakti Yoga. Why? Because there's absolute surrender to God. In fact, there's no you in Bhakti Yoga, right? There's only God. There's only God. And it gets crushed in Jnana Yoga. Because it's saying, what are you giving reality to? Right? So this ego is just a flimsy shadow.
That's with us always.
It's with us always. We can't help it. Like I told you, the reflection is going to be there. But that doesn't mean the reflection is you.
No.
The individuality is going to be there. That doesn't mean it's you. Do our saints and sages who have attained enlightenment, do they have ego? They have what is called Badita Ahankara, or falsified ego. As long as the mind, body, intellect, equipment, as long as it exists, that reflection will exist. That ego will exist. So even a saint, a sage, an enlightened being will have ego. They will have some sense of individuality. That's how they know if they want chapati or they want rice, right? That's how they know. They will have some individuality. But what's the difference? Their individuality is completely falsified. They completely know that it's a false thing. It's just a false thing and it just has to do its thing. They know that they are the self. So it's a falsified ego.
So when we die, that's when yes, it kind of completely squashed.
No.
We carry our
We carry it to the next life. When we die, when the body dies,